We're going to get started with our next guest speaker. Our keynote address is from Michelle Young. She's a senior product manager at ICCU, really responsible for bringing AI to the company. I want to give away too much of what we know about Michelle just from our brochure, and she's got lots of great things to say. So I'll just welcome you up. So another thing, we're recording this session so we can have, we want to watch again.
All right. Well, it is an absolute pleasure to be here and really be part of this event that helps knowledge, helps share use cases, helps us become better within our roles and better able to leverage technology that really helps us advance a lot further and a lot faster. So overall, my goal through this presentation is to really demystify the ambiguity that is artificial intelligence and to share how businesses like ICCU have enveloped AI into the organization and how it's benefiting employees. I learned how to operate the technology so quick. Oh no, I didn't. Go back. Okay, well, the last slide was the agenda. So before I talk about myself, we'll basically explore how the technology has changed our world over time, go through a quick overview of some of the AI technologies that we leverage in our day-to-day life, and then cover the practical application of those technologies. So as the slide alludes to, my name's Michelle Young. I am a proud College of Business graduate. I've got my MBA, the brochure says 2018, but time flies, it was actually 2014. So proud graduate, very grateful for the education that I received here that really set me up for success in my professional career. Okay, we just tap the button lightly, that's the key. All right. So yes, I'm our senior product manager at ICCU. If you're not familiar with product management, what that means is I basically work with different individuals, different stakeholders throughout the organization to discover different business challenges, to discover different opportunities, and then really strategize, like how do we overcome some of these challenges? What ways can we help the business advance further? And then work with teams on implementing and iterating on those items. So I like to think of myself as a professional problem solver. And right now my focus, I've had the privilege to work on a lot of different technologies at ICCU, but right now I'm focused on artificial intelligence, just knowing the impact that it can have on our business and having a dedicated focus on giving tools to team members that can help make a difference and you know, applying this technology in ways that impact our members in the best way possible. So overall, that's me at ICCU with all the pictures of my wonderful team. There's a lot of friendly people and a lot of green, and I love it. It's a great organization. Some of my personal passions, if I'm not working, I'm most likely running or hanging out with my family, which I found out my husband is very great at avoiding cameras because I could not find a single picture of it. Here are my dogs. They're wonderful little boxers. We've got Lexi on the left, Zoe on the right. They're very entertaining and just overall fun to be around. So that's me in a nutshell. So with that, kind of get into the crux of why we're here. So there have been several revolutions that have laid the groundwork for the rise of AI. Understanding these developments are important in making sure that we've got an appreciation for AI and really how it impacts our technological landscape. So won't spend too much time on this, but we're in our fourth industrial revolution. So each time that there's been new technology or new ways of operating, new innovation, it has really shifted how we approach work. It has shifted what we do and what we do day to day. And so we've seen very early on when we shifted from agriculture to manufacturing. And then as technology improved there, and there's a lot of automation brought to manufacturing, we see a shift moved into communication and transportation. And that gradually evolves into 1950s computers and really the information age and being able to access more information faster. And now we're seeing this continuous revolution to now where we're seeing an integration of digital and physical environments and seeing a lot more advanced technologies. So there's a lot to be said about these slides and the different transitions, but really the key is when there's change in the overall industry and how we operate that has significant impacts on our life. And we're seeing that right now with AI. So really quick, we won't go through the entire history because there's a lot of cool things future looking. But I do think it's important to know how far back AI actually goes. So when computers were introduced, that was really the first time that Alan Turing was on a mission to see, can I fool a person into thinking that a computer is a person? Can I make this computer think like a person? And so that started very early on, and the term AI and artificial intelligence was officially coined in the 1950s. Like that is a long time of evolution. So again, very early start, even though a lot of it has become very mainstream now, there's a long history behind it. One other area that I think is really important to know in the history of AI is that there was what's called an AI winter, where basically as soon as computers came out and we were discovering new ways to operate, there's a lot of promises and a lot of thought around, wow, all these things that it could do. However, the computing power wasn't there to power those experiences and to do that analysis. And so we saw about a 30-year period where AI kind of flew under the radar while the rest of technology came up to speed and gave us those capabilities that we now see today. I also find it very interesting. We've seen a rise of chatbots, but the very first chatbot introduced in 1964. Super interesting that a lot of this technology has been in place and has evolved over time. So with that, we have all seen how AI has been integrated into our daily lives. And so let's explore some common use cases that we encounter regularly. And I'll kind of translate some of the terms that are pretty common in these areas. So really one of the first areas of AI evolution includes advanced analytics and being able to look at a history and actually start predicting future occurrences. So we see that in a lot of different places. The next evolution of that is in machine learning and having information feed back into models and continue to see those improve over time. Sounds like a lot, but basically all that means is when you're watching Netflix and you get a recommendation, that's machine learning. Every time you give a thumbs up, you watch a new series, that's feeding back into the model, that's refining what you see in that list. So also in fraud detection, that continuous evolution and looking for patterns. So next one we'll go through quickly is OCR and computer vision. So OCR is basically a machine's ability to look at and understand and be able to translate a picture or an image. So if you filed taxes online, you most likely had to upload a document or take a picture of a document. That's OCR. When you saw that information go from your document into the application, that's AI at work for you. It's also anytime you unlock your phone with your face, that's AI. Autonomous vehicles, being able to recognize different objects and different patterns and hopefully avoid them. Again, that's computer vision at work. Natural language processing, I've thrown a lot of terms at you, so sorry about that. But basically this is the ability for computers and humans to speak the same language. So it's the ability to speak very naturally and have a computer understand what you're saying. Sounds really complex, but basically that means that's how our voice assistants work. That's how every time you talk to Siri, that's natural language processing. It's understanding what you're saying and being able to respond back in a non-computer way. So a couple of other examples, translation apps, chatbots get very interesting because that leads us to kind of the latest and greatest in technology, and that's generative AI. So I think probably everybody's pretty familiar, especially in a college setting, about the benefits of generative AI and ChatGPT type tools that really take a wide range of information and help consolidate it and be able to provide back responses. So I'm very behind on my notes here. Let's see. Okay. So I think one of the most memorable artifacts that we will see in this time in history with generative AI will be its questionable image generation. I don't know, but I love scrolling through Facebook. It's like, oh, there's another AI picture. So I think that will leave a lasting impression. With all this technology, I've blazed through a lot and kind of where it's present today. Right now, we're in a stage where AI is kind of a passenger. It's our assistant. It's helping us do things. And as we move into more advanced times where AI is going to be helping us do things and automating things and doing things on our, there's certain things to know about the technology so that you can more effectively use it. Especially when it comes to being in the workplace, there are some weaknesses of the different AI tools that we just reviewed. So overall, knowing and understanding, like, there's inaccuracies. I gave the example of, when I uploaded my tax documents 5 years ago, I uploaded my W-2 and the information went into the application wrong for my income. And so it's like, if I wasn't reviewing that and changing it, then that could have had a lot of consequences. So overall, the technology is not perfect. We're seeing a lot of evolution and a lot of improvements, but it's good at this moment in time to always verify. So you'll see it typically a lot with generative AI tools as well. Sometimes they hallucinate and they make up things, and it's just, you got to call the whatever you coin your Gen AI solution to be, you need to call it out on them and try to correct it. So it's just kind of a natural evolution of where we're at with the technology. It's still very young, still has a lot more of maturing to do. A couple other areas, you'll notice across the board, advanced analytics and machine learning, those are used so broadly in everyday life, and especially as you move into more of a professional environment. And so with that, the quality of the information that comes out from those advanced models or those predictions, it's only going to be as good as the data that goes into it, and as good as the data that is going in to help maintain it. And so it's important to recognize that as you're going out into the industry, that, if you're trying to make a decision on something future and it's going off of this model, it's good to know what information is actually feeding that, so you know if you should trust it or not, because the stakes are going to be a lot higher in that environment versus just in our personal lives, just asking Siri to order something from Amazon for us. Another thing that's very important, one that we take serious at ICC, is the transparency and making sure that we can explain how things work. That's very critical, because if you're going to make a decision, you can't just say the AI told me to do it. Like, that won't get you very far. So you need to understand, how did it reach this conclusion? So again, understanding the information, understanding how it got there, and not blindly trusting AI. A couple other areas, just making sure that privacy concerns, those types of things, make sure people accept, and you're not imposing technology on people or using their information in a way that they haven't authorized. So with that, we'll get back to the fun stuff. So let's talk about integration of AI at ICCU. It's interesting because we see how this technology impacts our personal life, and there's a lot of these same benefits that we see in the workplace as well. So I'll first talk about our AI journey. So very early in my career, I had a mentor that said, we don't just implement technology to implement technology. Have a purpose, have a reason for doing what you're doing with technology. And with that, that's where it's important to align technology with your mission. So very early on, when big data, the term big data was becoming kind of mainstream and becoming the next latest and greatest thing. As that technology became more and more available and accessible, we had an opportunity at ICCU to bring together all these systems where, a member might have an interaction in a mortgage system and then maybe a deposit account, but all this information is siloed away. So if you're working with a member, you really don't know or truly understand their financial needs because you have very limited. So very early on, really the mission was to help members achieve financial success at ICCU. That's the company mission. And overall, once the data became easier to group together and be able to leverage in different ways, it just made sense because it helped members achieve financial success. It gave team members more visibility into how to help those people. So we implemented, went forward with, aggregating data, going down that journey. And I talked a little bit about advanced analytics and, it's a very common practice. And one example of how we've been able to do that at ICCU is you can look at a number of variables, look at history, and potentially predict, who is a member potentially going to charge off on their loan account. When that happens, there's something significant going on in somebody's life that's impacting their ability to make payments in these areas. And with that, the consequence of doing so might impact them severely by lowering their credit, maybe making it so they don't get approved for their next loan, don't get approved for rent in their next area. There's so many potential downstream effects of that charge off. And so by having a way to actually see, what members are at risk of this, it gave an opportunity for team members to actually reach out and discuss their financial situation and try to put them in a better place. So again, it comes down to, yes, the technology is cool. It's great that we have those capabilities, but it's about identifying what is your mission and how does the technology help you get there. So with that, we'll go over some of our current initiatives. So one area of focus is always going to be with the member experience and the service that they receive. I think a lot of the things that we're going to discuss are going to be applicable in a lot of areas and no matter what industry you go into. So a lot of where we're trending now is basically allowing members to ask better questions, get more responses, be able to get this information on their own time and be able to fulfill or get answers that they need, do the things that they need to do when they need to do it. So overall, with the advancements within natural language processing, with generative AI, we're able to help create more human-like interactions and better quality interactions that can be applied across communication channels. So here we see our chatbot that's on icc.com. You can use it and test it out. And really looking to see how do we apply those in a lot of different areas. And again, make information available, make automation available for members. On the flip side of that, there's also interactions where it might be more of a complex topic. Maybe somebody feels more comfortable talking to an actual person about something. So, and we'll naturally see some of those more complex topics elevate to needing team members. And so as part of providing better service to our members, there's also a push to help our team members have access to more information, better tools to help them quickly be able to respond with good quality on different requests. And I mean, those are just some of the examples of how technology is really helping both the member experience and team member experience. And even with, like, we can use call centers, for example. Like, technology's gotten to a stage where, back in the day, if you worked in a call center, there might be a group of a team of people that were on, quality management team. It was their job to listen to phone calls, jot down all the bad things that you did, report it to your supervisor. Those days are gone because we now have intelligence that can listen to every single one of those calls, point out, what did team members do right? What do they need coaching on? And overall, how is somebody doing versus just looking at a single call that might impact their overall performance. We get a holistic view and empowering even managers to have more effective conversations with team members, help them improve, which will have a ripple effect into our members. So again, big area to focus on, and probably not unique to ICCU, but one that's very critical to us. You heard me talk about data. That's going to continue to be a trend and very prevalent going forward. So we're going to see more analytics, more machine learning. The reason for that is even as customers, the businesses that we interact with, we expect more from them. We expect them to know us. We expect them to know what we need and when we need it. And AI is going to help us get there and help meet those expectations that are ever rising. Also, being able to leverage data and making data more accessible and easier to use for team members. We've all seen the benefit that ChatGPT has had in probably your college career, if not your personal career, or personal life. If not, I challenge you to go in to ChatGPT, have it plan out your next meal, have it tell you where to eat, have it do something simple, and start learning the technology. And basically, we're trying to bring that same revolution that we're seeing within our personal lives to our team members at ICCU as well. Our team members, especially when they first come on board, they have to know a lot. And when act with them, they need to be the expert at whatever that person is calling about. And so making data more accessible and easier to use by those team members will help get to that state. And so providing ChatGPT-like experiences with specific things that help our team members know what's the next step in this scenario. What's the guide rails that I need to know about filing this dispute? Again, empowering team members with an accessible data and helping them know how to navigate that field. So I think I just have two more. With security and risk, again, no matter where you go, this is going to be an area that is important to know. So the same tools, the same technology that we have access to, that we're leveraging to enhance every aspect of our business, of our personal life, the bad people have access to those same tools, and they're using it against us. And so we're seeing attacks that are more human-like, that are more advanced. And so we're getting to a stage where it's not possible for humans to be able to recognize all of those. And so you need to have technology that can help understand and help get in front of those attacks and yeah, really help protect the business. Transitioning over to, there was a question that was asked that I think is very relevant, especially for this group. So as part of my role, it's about trying to identify what areas do we go into next? What's the next project in line? What's the next 6 to 9 months look like? And overall, it all comes back again to aligning with the business and aligning with business needs. And so if you're starting your AI journey professionally and implementing, or starting your own business and wondering where to get started, it's important to establish principles. So some examples of that are, as an institution, we want to help empower our team members with technology, not automate them away. And that's important to establish. So as we're looking at different tools, different projects, that we're being true to those types of principles. And let's see, with that, really getting down to ROI, and not just implementing technology to implement technology. As a AI committee that we've established, We establish objectives. We say, okay, what are the credit union's goals? What areas of focus do we think AI can impact? And then we focus on those areas and say, okay, what are our goals in these scenarios? And what are our targets going to be for this year? So every time we're looking at a new project, we can look and see, oh, this is going to save us 400 hours. That aligns with this goal. That's going to help us advance towards that. So again, it's important to establish those early, just so you have some alignment and know where to maximize what it is that you're choosing to pursue with your different initiatives. AI adoption. This one has been an interesting one. I think in terms of strategies, AI adoption AI as a technology is very similar to any other product. It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of ongoing education to get people to leverage it. There's got to be promotion and incentives and reasons to go use it. And then one of the most important elements that, especially within product management, we emphasize is getting to know the people that are leveraging AI within the credit union, understanding what are the challenges that they're having with it. What areas can we help improve to help them better leverage different AI products that we're implementing? And using that research and that feedback to continuously work towards and continuously improve within each of the products. So very important that we have that feedback loop. It enhances confidence from team members. It helps them feel more engaged with the different areas that we're investing in. Some of the challenges that are very unique, I think, to the AI space is really we are trying to form new habits. So we've got tools just like every other company that will help you write emails, help you like write your proposals. But team members have to change, or our employees have to change how they go about writing emails, how they go about writing recommendations. Because normally it's like, I'm pretty good at emails, I can just draft it here. But actually taking a step back and saying like, oh, okay, let me do a prompt instead. It's really changing people's habits and how they approach their workday that's usually so ingrained. That has been a challenge for sure. But as we've seen in some of the other revolutions that we've gone through, it takes time, but that agility and that I can't say it. Okay, the ability to change. There we go. The ability to change is going to be super critical in helping team members know and understand. So I know one other area that has been a struggle for us with AI adoption is also building trust. You know, we've got this tool that helps team members know what to do next. Well, if they're told the wrong thing to do one time, like that, it makes it very hard for them to go back and trust the technology versus just reverting back. And so some of the things that we've done is really emphasize the areas that we're improving the quality of the responses, listening to team members, implementing feedback and communicating that out, just so we can continue to try to build, or in some cases needing to rebuild some of that trust due to some of the limitations that exist with the technology. And also helping team members understand that there are limitations and being, having more information about when to use things and where, and just having that knowledge, like something doesn't sound right, just verify, trust but verify. And I think especially with AI, there's a lot more apprehension about the technology and about change. So, not only are people having to learn new technologies, they're also having to adapt and change how they approach things and feeling comfortable with those risks and limitations that we talked about. There's also kind of the stigma of, AI is going to take over my job. And so that's where, again, that principle where it's like, AI is going to help you. It's not going to automate you away. Reinforcing those principles, reinforcing that AI has a long way to go. It's here to help you. And I think one of my favorite things about the technology and where we're going with it is, really allowing technology to help with these simpler tasks. the really mundane stuff that people dread doing day to day, just because it's kind of a drag when you just have to like copy and paste things from one Excel spreadsheet to the other. And so really providing team members confidence that this technology is here to help you with a lot of those repetitive tasks and really allow you to be more creative, allow you to focus on the work that matters. So again, a lot of that communication and education is key in trying to help overcome some of the challenges that are really very unique to artificial intelligence. So looking at the future of AI, I think we're somewhere between, AI being able to retrieve information pretty well, be able to do certain tasks. But hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll start seeing AI get to the point where we can trust it more, where it can do things for us, where we might have different AIs that are able to collaborate to do certain things. We're a long ways off based on the limitations that are there, but it's exciting to think about, our ability to unlock new technology on new problems, to unlock new business value that isn't available to us today. So very exciting times. So to kind of close it out, you might be wondering, how does this impact me? What do I do with this information? So if I were in your shoes, some of the items that I want to take away is, number one, start becoming a prompting expert. So prompting is, using ChatGPT. What you're going to see is that is going to become more prevalent in a lot of places. I talked about, team members having the ability to go in and chat about next steps. We're also seeing a lot of the companies that we work with and a lot of the systems that we use implementing that same technology. So it is spreading like wildfire, where we have a lot of different systems with that same capability. So becoming a prompting expert is going to help you onboard more quickly. It's going to help you do things quicker and better than people that might have been at a company for a really long period of time. So become a prompting expert. I think another area that's really critical is to, wherever you choose to go, whatever industry you choose to be in, is identify those AI technologies that are leveraged. And then once you know those AI technologies, know the limitations, know when to trust things, because you don't want to be proposing something to your boss or to an executive that, Gen AI created, but it's wildly inaccurate. Like that's now your career on the line. So again, kind of identify those different areas and where it's used, know what to trust and where to maximize that value. Last thing I'd say is be curious and open. We are in a stage where AI is evolving so rapidly and so quickly that on our team that we have, so we have an AI team, we're constantly seeing new models come out, new technologies emerge. We're constantly seeing vendors that are offering new technology that we want to explore. Be open, be curious, because that evolution is going to go fast. And it's important to be open to the capabilities of that technology. So with that, that's me. If you want to connect, there's my LinkedIn profile, but I'd open it up to any questions.
So AI adoption, you were talking about the challenges internally. What are some of the challenges you perhaps have with your customers who, ICCU is known so well for that in-person ability to connect with your customer?
Yeah.
So how are they reacting to these changes, if at all?
So the question was, how do members, how are they adapting? And overall, especially, at least from an ICCU stance, we're very much of the opinion that the customer should be able to choose. And this technology and AI is going to offer a lot of convenience. You don't have to wait for a branch to open up. And so it's really going to resonate well with those members, but still making that team member and that human connection available and not make it difficult to get there, because everybody is at their own as far as adoption of AI and where they're at with it. And so being able to meet people where they're at with the technology and their comfort level is important. One area is always wanting to make sure that we're calling out like, hey, this is a generative AI solution, please verify the response, like don't just blindly trust. So trying to help make sure that there's transparency in interactions and things like that. So I think those are some of the ways that so far we're trying to address it, is make it available to the people that want it, make humans available to the people that aren't quite there yet. Yes.
Michelle, I think my question is more related to data protection.
Okay.
Right? Because in ICCU, you have a lot of financial information about your members.
Yeah.
And when you talk PPP, we all know that all the information that goes in there is not private.
Yeah.
So how is ICCU protecting that data
Yeah.
on the customers? What tools are you using? Reality, is that a tool that was built specifically for ICCU, or are you using the
Yeah, that's a great question, because that is one of the biggest areas of risk, especially with chat GPT type models. Luckily we partner with a lot of good companies that they specialize in saying like, hey, your data doesn't go outside of this. It will only be contained here. And making sure that every technology, I'd say technology in general, just because it's not limited to AI, there's a long vetting process to ensure that it is safe, that it's continuously maintained and updated. So I think that's a huge part in our security team and our architecture team. And we've got a vendor management process to really ensure that there's multiple levels, multiple eyes, different areas of expertise, evaluating every single technology that's even considered, and going through that process. Because overall, I can't speak for the entire credit union from this stance, but I know for me, like, my money is critical. That's how I have a roof overhead. That's how I put food on my table. And to have my money at an institution, that's a lot of trust. That is life and your livelihood. And so I know anytime I'm looking at something, I'm realizing that is, over 600,000 people's trust in us. So as we're looking at different technologies, really, keeping that responsibility forefront and making sure that we've got the right process in place, and on an ongoing basis, ensure that we're always looking to make sure that the latest and greatest protection is there. So hopefully that helps. Okay. It's a long-winded answer. If you're around me a lot, that's how I communicate differently.
A bit with Ray, but I was interested in hearing a bit more about your transparency and explainability with AI, and if you guys developed your standards in-house, how you implemented those and decide on them, or if it's kind of something that's becoming more standardized, like maybe within the credit union sphere or something. I don't know.
Yeah, great question. So especially with us, it's really twofold. So we do have an in-house AI team that can help, build technology that might be a gap in the market, but is important to the credit union to be able to meet an objective. And then we also partner with a lot of companies for things like that. Typically we've prioritized really evaluating vendors that do have that ability to continuously monitor, to continuously, make sure that they've got the checks in place. Like, for example, if we've got technology that's helping make a decision on a loan, like making sure that model is continuously evaluated for bias, making sure that it's making those adjustments. We've a lot of times leveraged different companies and the vendors and the partners that we have to ensure that they're maintaining those high standards. Just because it's a lot easier for vendors to maintain that than things that we do in-house. So again, looking at the priority of transparency, very high, and vendors are usually very good at ensuring that they have that in place and that transparency in place. So hopefully that answered your question. It just kind of depends on what technology you're implementing and really what tool is best for the job. And really, from my perspective, whether we go in-house or partner with a vendor, it's all about ensuring that we've got those guide rails in place and that we're holding different companies or ourselves accountable to ensure that, you know, we're looking at the metrics, that we're running these tests continuously or requesting vendors to provide those on a regular basis. So more so for us, it's about implementing the guide rails for accountability. Yeah.
So I'm curious because you talked about how lots of technologies out there and you're looking for alignment and ROI. Maybe without going into specifics you can't get into, what are some examples or the types of situations where you saw technology that looked promising, but you just had to say we can't go there?
That's a great question. So with the introduction of ChatGPT in 2022, all of a sudden everybody had AI. All of a sudden, like every system, every company had all these amazing tools that could solve every problem that's out there. So I'd say like we encounter that more often than not, that as we're diving into things, we're like, oh, this isn't quite what we thought. There's a lot of marketing hype at the moment around artificial intelligence. And so really, again, trying to not necessarily be an expert in every technology, but knowing the basis around what it can do, what its limitations are, help with those questions with different partners to say, you know, does it do what it says it's going to do? Because yeah, sometimes it's hard to weed through that with all of the material that's out there and a lot of the promises that are made. So I think it comes back down to accountability too. So if they're saying that they're able to do certain things, it's like, cool, let's do a proof of concept for Idaho Central and see, you know, does it perform like we thought? So I think that accountability is key, especially in the AI space. Cool. Any others? Awesome, thank you.